Well, hi. Good morning. My name is Jay O'Hara, and I live in Portland, Maine, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Climate Disobedience Center. And we're here this morning just to talk a little bit about some events that have happened over the weekend at the Merrimack Generating Station in Bow, and also to talk about the campaign to shut that plant down that is kicking off today and building towards mass mobilization happening in September. And we've got a number of speakers to talk about both what has happened and what's going to happen, what's in the pipeline. But we want to start off with Leif Taranta giving a land acknowledgement here. Leif, come around up here.
Speak up. Hello. We are standing up in the Nakana, the traditional lands and waterways of the Abenaki, Kanaka, and other related Wabanaki peoples, past and present. We acknowledge and honor with gratitude the land itself and the people who have stewarded it throughout the generations. Wabanaki people are the original stewards of the water and the air, and together we are calling on our elected leaders to end burning coal in New Hampshire. Thanks.
My name is Emma Schoenberg. I'm part of the Climate Disobedience Center and was one of the diggers that walked onto the coal plant on Saturday afternoon. With 8 other activists, we walked onto this coal plant supported by a team of people from across New England to finally push for this coal plant to have a shutdown date in the near future, because we do not have the time to keep burning this planet. The fossil fuel industry and the coal industry have continued to fuel the flames of what is happening in our planet, and it is time for us to do what we need to take it into our own hands. Even if we have to remove out the coal bucket by bucket, we are going to remove the fuel from the fire, and that is why we walked onto this plant. We took over 16 buckets of coal, equaling over 500 pounds, and we walked out with it, and we have some of it with us today, because we can no longer allow for this to keep happening. Thank you.
Yay.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo! Next we want to introduce Quincy Abramson, who is a lifelong resident of Bow and is a UNH graduate.
Hi everyone, like Jay said, my name's Quincy. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and today I'm here as an organizer from New Hampshire Youth Movement, but more so as a resident of Bow. So I did not know that there was a coal-fired plant in Bow until this coalition of groups started mobilizing against it, and I was appalled and shocked when I found out. Bow is a beautiful town. There might not be much going on there, but it's close enough to Manchester and Concord to have what you need, but far away enough that people enjoy really beautiful land and space. And I know that that's what people really value about Bow. The myriad of streams, ponds, forests, and trails are one of my favorite things about Bow, and yet it is home to one of the last major coal-fired plant in New England. Bow does not deserve that, and no one, nowhere deserves that. I'm sick and tired of watching people and corporations profit off of harming our ecosystem and our neighbors. Years ago, data already showed an increase in asthma and heart attack rates among Bow residents from coal pollution, yet the plant still stands. For too long, our elected officials have failed to take the radical action that we need in order to address the climate crisis, and so I am so grateful that such a badass group of activists have come together and stepped up to address the degradation of our community. We need to elect climate leaders that will step up and take action, but everyone has a role to play. Because for far too long, we've seen that we can't rely on our leaders to ensure the safety of our and our planet. So it's up to me, and it's up to all of us and to all of you to remove the fuel that is fueling the fire that is destroying our planet. And so I urge everyone in New Hampshire and New England to stand up and fight back by signing on to our pledge of resistance against this plan. Thank you.
Thanks, Quincy. Woo! Next up, Lila Corbin-Glazer of 350 New Hampshire. Action.
Hey everybody, I'm Lila from 350 New Hampshire Action. For anyone just tuning in now to the live stream,
We are here at the State House in New Hampshire, pledging to end the burning of coal in New England once and for all. Last year, people were burned alive in their homes in climate-fueled fires. People around the world died in hurricanes, floods, and heat waves. Coal miners in Appalachia are demanding a Green New Deal and blockading train tracks as coal companies go bankrupt and flee without paying their wages. In New Hampshire, thousands of homes are slated for chronic flooding. Lethal heat waves are predicted. Our farmers, our outdoor workers, and those who belong to the most vulnerable communities are already paying the price of our government's inaction on climate. In Bow, the Merrimack generating station causes asthma, illness, and death. It pollutes the Merrimack River and kills wildlife in the surrounding area. The plant is being sued by the Sierra Club and the Conservation Law Foundation. I'm 26 years old, and in just 1 hour, this plant emits as much carbon as I have emitted in my entire life. Yet our elected officials refuse to act. It is 2019. We have renewable energy to meet our demands. With solar and wind energy, we can keep jobs and dollars in our economy. With solar and wind energy, we can save lives. With solar and wind energy, we can give my generation a livable future. Yet our elected officials do nothing. They're choosing to side with fossil fuel billionaires instead of with our families, and I believe that their inaction will go down in history as a moral failure. It's 2019, and we can't wait any longer. We will not stand idly by as New Hampshire continues to burn coal and to fuel the fires of the climate crisis. We will not stand idly by while Liberty Utilities lays an explosive network of fracked methane gas pipelines across our state. We will not stand idly by while Republicans and Democrats alike, like Dan Feltis, Martha Fuller Clark, and David Waters, endorse the expansion of fossil fuels through our communities. I've rallied at the State House. I've testified at hearings. I've signed petitions. I've called my senators dozens and dozens of times. But as long as we are burning coal, we are not winning change fast enough. If our elected officials won't act to address the climate crisis, if they're too bought out by the fossil fuel industry, if they can't see past their desks or their own small imaginations to see the world burning around us, then we will shut down this coal plant ourselves, even if it means we must carry the coal out bucket by bucket.
All right.
On September 20th, we strike with millions of people around the world. On September 28th, we will descend on Bow with teachers and students, with faith leaders and scientists, with mothers and daughters, with people from across New England. We will end burning coal once and for all. Go to nocoalnogas.org to join the resistance and the coalition. Follow the Climate Disobedience Center and 350 New Hampshire Action on Facebook to find out how you can get involved and join us. Without further ado, pass it over to Tim DeChristopher from the Climate Disobedience Center.
Thank you. Before I wrap up, I know that some of our reporters are trickling out, so I just want to see if there were any further questions for us to take.
What about Schiller?
Schiller is a significantly smaller plant, but that's certainly next on the list, and something that we will be targeting, and something that we hope our legislators and regulators target as well. Something that I want to make clear that on today, this hot, scorching August day, the Merrimack generating station is not operating because that's actually not necessary. We don't actually need this power to meet our energy needs at this point, thanks to the steadily decreasing demand for electricity in New England since 2005 and the increasing sources of clean energy. The only reason this plant exists is because of the subsidies that come from our public dollars. And that's something that our legislators have control over and our regulators have control over. So the reason we're here today at this site, leaving this coal for those legislators, is a reminder that this is their responsibility to take care of. We ourselves, we don't have the power to directly end those subsidies and shut down this plant permanently. So we are doing what we have the power to do. We are empowering ourselves using what we have, hands and buckets and shovels, and our willingness to put our bodies on the line, to go and do everything that we can to remove the fuel from this fire and to shut down this plant. We are not waiting for these legislators and elected leaders to act any longer. We've been waiting for far too long. And now, after their decades of inaction and predatory delay, we have reached this critical mass of people both in New Hampshire, around New England, and around the world who are no longer willing to sacrifice their future to protect the status quo for the fossil fuel industry, and are simply not willing to tolerate this assault on our future. And so with that critical mass of people, we're ready to shut down the Merrimack generating station whenever they open it up to run it. We've got that number of people, and they are not ready to stop us. And so we want it to be known, both to the general public, to the legislators, and to all of those institutional purchasers of power on the regional grid, that the Merrimack generating station cannot be relied upon any longer. That it is now too vulnerable to all the people whose lives are threatened by the continued operation of that plant. And so it will be shut down at some point whenever it operates. Thank you. Are there any further questions that we can answer? Jay?
Tim, what was it like taking the coal out?
It was remarkably accessible. As a longtime climate activist, it's actually a little bit of an embarrassment that there's a coal-fired power plant less than an hour away from Boston that doesn't have fences around it, and that any of us can just go and get in the way. Any of us can just go and remove the fuel from the fire that is burning our future. We are empowered to do that, and it's time that as a climate movement we step into that power and do what must be done. Let's do it right here. Set up.
So to close this out, yeah, why don't we, I don't know, maybe we should put it right up here. So to close this out, just want to say again, it's easy inside these fancy walls and this glittering dome to forget that just a few minutes south of here there is an engine of destruction, and that is an engine of destruction both in here in the heart of New England, in the heart of New Hampshire, but that is an engine of destruction that extends down the rail lines to Appalachia and the mountains that are being exploded and blown off and dumped into streams to poison water. That is an engine of destruction that comes out the smokestack of that plant, spreads around this country, spreads around the world, and affects right now millions of people, primarily in the most vulnerable, the poor, the black and brown and indigenous people around this country and this planet are facing these consequences now and are staring down the barrel of that engine of destruction. And it is an engine of destruction that passes on to future generations the mistakes that we have made and are making, both in our own lives for having let this go on so long, and here in these halls of so-called power that continue to stand idly by. So we're here to remind this government and political leaders around New Hampshire, around New England, and around this country that we all have a role to play to remove the fuel from the fire, to stop this engine of destruction. Our role on Saturday was to remove as much coal as we could for one day, and we're going to keep coming back and doing that over and over again until this plant stopped. And as a reminder here to the people within these walls that they have their own role to play to ensure that this plant ceases operating and coal is no longer burned in New England. So we took our bucket by bucket, we brought it here to these halls of power, and it's time for us to take these buckets back and continue to get to work and to leave as a reminder this coal here for these folks in this building to do their job as well. Let's get to work.
Well done, guys.
We are going to clean that up, right?